Hello, my dears. I'm glad to meet with you here again. Tell me, are you familiar with this feeling? You wake up in the morning, haven't even fully come to your senses yet, and your hand is already reaching for your phone, tablet, or the morning paper. And so, the first minutes of your new day are filled with what? Anxiety, accident reports, political battles, the feeling that the world is heading somewhere wrong. Have you noticed how something tightens up inside after this morning ritual? It's not just a bad mood. Your body is actually reacting. This morning dose of stress, often negative and frightening, triggers a real chemical storm in your body. The adrenal glands release cortisol, the stress hormone. Your heart starts beating faster. Blood pressure can spike. Muscles tense up as if preparing for fight or flight. And all this, even before breakfast. Imagine starting every morning by pulling the fire alarm cord in your own body, because that's exactly how the stream of worrying news affects us, especially on an empty stomach and a not fully awake body. This morning news cocktail is like adding fuel to the fire of age-related changes, increasing inflammation, interfering with digestion, and draining precious energy. But what if I told you there's a simple, accessible way for everyone to change this? A way to reclaim a calm morning, improve your well-being, feel a surge of energy, and even improve your sleep. I've gone through this myself and want to share my experience and the stories of people just like you. I promise, no complicated diets or exhausting workouts. Just one small change in your morning routine that can be a real gift to your body. Stay with me until the end, and you'll find out how a simple decision can trigger an amazing chain reaction of positive changes in your well-being. So, what happens to the body when the morning starts not with news, but with something else? Let's figure it out together. And the first, most obvious change many people notice concerns our heart and blood pressure. After all, they are the first to take the hit from morning stress. Therefore, the very first step I suggest you take is this. Replace your morning news reading or watching with 5 to 10 minutes of silence and mindful breathing. Yes, just silence. No screens, no newspapers. Sit comfortably by the window in your favorite armchair, perhaps with a cup of warm water or herbal tea. And just be with yourself. Observe your breath. Inhale, exhale. Feel the air filling your lungs. Feel your shoulders relax. Let me tell you the story of Arthur, 72 years old. Arthur started every day of his life with a newspaper and a cup of strong coffee. He considered it an unshakable tradition, a connection to the world. But in recent years, he began to notice that by breakfast time, he already felt agitated. His heart was pounding, and the blood pressure monitor often showed numbers that weren't exactly cheerful. His wife urged him to drop the habit, but Arthur brushed it off. How can I not be informed? It's irresponsible. Inside, he felt discomfort, almost guilt, at the thought of missing the morning report. He felt like he would fall out of life, become ignorant. Does that feeling sound familiar? But his blood pressure and constant anxiety forced him to try. With great skepticism, he agreed to an experiment. For 1 week, start the morning not with the newspaper, but by quietly sitting by the window and watching the birds at the feeder. The first few days were strange. His hand habitually reached for the stack of newspapers. His mind restlessly darted. What's happening in the world? What if something important happened? But Arthur held firm. And do you know what he noticed by the end of the week? His morning blood pressure readings became consistently lower. The feeling of tightness in his chest disappeared. He began to notice how beautifully the birds sang, how the light changed outside the window. His body, no longer receiving its usual dose of morning stress, stopped switching into battle-ready mode. Cortisol levels dropped, blood vessels relaxed, his heart beat more steadily. It wasn't magic, it was pure physiology. The morning news stream was like a constant alarm signal for his nervous system. By removing this irritant, he allowed his body to start the day in a state of calm, not stress. Psychologically, he benefited too. The world didn't collapse because he learned the news an hour later, but his own morning became his personal quiet time. Gift your heart and blood vessels these precious minutes of morning peace too. Replace news anxiety with simple contemplation or deep breathing. It's the easiest step towards healthier blood pressure and a calm start to the day. Try it for just a few days, and you will feel the difference. But you know, this morning calm, which is so beneficial for the heart and blood vessels, is also a real gift for our digestion. Have you ever noticed that after breakfast eaten to the accompaniment of anxious news, there's a certain heaviness in your stomach, discomfort, maybe even heartburn? Well, that's no accident. Therefore, my next piece of advice is closely related to the previous one. Stop reading the news during breakfast. Replace it with calm, mindful eating. Focus on the taste, smell, and texture of the food. Eat slowly, chewing thoroughly. Remember Eleanor, 68 years old, a lovely woman, but constantly suffering from heartburn, bloating, and some kind of abdominal discomfort after eating, especially after breakfast. Her morning ritual was this: a bowl of oatmeal or toast with jam, a cup of tea, and a tablet with the news feed. She read, mechanically sending spoonful after spoonful into her mouth, often frowning or sighing at what she read. She had tried countless diets, took pills for heartburn, but the problem kept returning. She thought it was solely due to the food or her weak stomach. When it was suggested she simply put away the tablet during meals, she laughed. "What's the connection? I'm just reading." She didn't believe it could affect her digestion. The habit was strong. Breakfast without news seemed bland and boring, as if something was missing. But her stomach problems became unbearable, and she decided to try. She started eating breakfast while looking out the window or simply focusing on her food. She began to notice again how tasty her porridge was, how aromatic the tea. And what happened? After a couple of weeks, Eleanor was surprised to find that her heartburn had almost disappeared and bloating became much less frequent. Why? It's simple. Our brain and digestive system are closely linked. When you read alarming news, your brain sends stress signals to your body. In a state of stress, the body redirects blood and energy away from the digestive system to the muscles, preparing to fight or flight. The production of digestive juices slows down, and intestinal peristalsis is disrupted. Food eaten in this state is digested poorly, lingers, causing fermentation, gas, and heartburn. It's like trying to digest lunch during an earthquake. When Eleanor started eating calmly, her nervous system switched to the parasympathetic mode, rest and digest. Blood flowed to the stomach and intestines, digestive enzymes were secreted more actively, and food began to be properly absorbed. Her stomach, which she considered weak, actually just needed calm conditions to work. It wasn't weak, just agitated by morning stress. Your stomach is not a trash can where you can dump food to the accompaniment of world catastrophes. Treat breakfast as an important ritual of self-care. Put away the gadgets, eat slowly and with pleasure. Your digestion will thank you immensely, and you will feel lightness instead of the usual discomfort. And when the stomach starts working calmly, without stress, you not only get rid of discomfort, but you also notice something else pleasant. Somehow, you have more energy. It might seem unrelated. What do news and our energy levels have to do with each other? But the connection is direct. How we start our day determines our energy reserve. Many of us feel morning sluggishness, fatigue, even if we slept enough. And often we blame it on age. But what if it's not just age, but how we spend the first hours after waking up? So here's another piece of advice. Replace passive news consumption with light morning activity. This could be a short walk in the fresh air, a few simple stretching exercises, or even just walking energetically around the apartment to your favorite music from your youth. Meet David, 75 years old. David complained of constant morning fatigue. He would wake up seemingly rested, but within an hour after breakfast, which he spent reading news on the computer, he felt drained, sleepy, and lacking energy. He thought it was just age, his battery running low. He tried to perk himself up with a second or even third cup of coffee, but it only provided a short-term effect, followed by an even greater slump. The idea of replacing his morning news session with some activity seemed absurd to him. "I have no energy as it is, and you're suggesting I move more?" He was used to thinking that morning was a time for rest before the day's activities, and news was part of that calm start. But his daughter, concerned about his condition, gently insisted on an experiment, just 10 minutes of light exercise or a walk around the block instead of the news. David agreed, grumbling that it was useless. The first few days, he forced himself through the exercises, feeling resistance, thinking it was a waste of time. But after just a week, he noticed something astonishing. The morning drowsiness began to recede. He felt more alert, more energetic, and this boost lasted longer than the coffee buzz. How does this work? Morning news, by causing stress, provides a short burst of energy through adrenaline. But it's like lighting gunpowder, a bright flash, but quick, leaving only ashes and fatigue behind. The body expends resources reacting to stress, and ultimately, you feel depleted. Light physical activity in the morning works completely differently. It improves blood circulation, oxygenates the blood, and gently and naturally awakens the muscles and brain. It's like a slowly kindling fire that provides steady, long-lasting warmth. Instead of wasting energy processing stress, you generate it through movement. Plus, physical activity stimulates the production of endorphins, hormones of happiness, which improve mood and provide a natural energy boost. David realized that his low battery wasn't so much about age as it was the result of starting the day incorrectly, exhausting himself with stress instead of gently recharging with movement. Want more energy throughout the day? Start your morning not with the adrenaline roller coaster of news, but with gentle movement. Even 10 minutes of light exercise or a walk can work wonders. Your body is designed for movement, and morning activity is the best way to start it up for the whole day. And this vitality, provided by a calm morning and light movement, isn't just felt during the day. Surprisingly, it also helps us at night, improving our sleep. It might seem strange, but how you spend the first minutes after waking directly influences how you will sleep the following night. Many older adults complain about sleep problems, difficulty falling asleep, frequent awakenings, anxious thoughts, and often they can't find the cause, but it might lie in their morning habit. Therefore, my next piece of advice might seem counterintuitive to you. Replacing morning news with something calming, like listening to peaceful music, nature sounds, or reading a few pages of an inspiring book, can improve your night's sleep. The story of Margaret, 70 years old, confirms this. Margaret suffered from insomnia. She had trouble falling asleep at night and often woke up in the middle of the night with anxious thoughts. She blamed it all on age, hormonal changes, took sleeping pills, but the effect was temporary. Her morning started typically, a cup of coffee and browsing news sites on her tablet. She considered it just a way to stay informed. The idea that morning news could affect her night's sleep seemed completely illogical to her. What does the morning have to do with it if I can't sleep at night? She wondered. It was hard for her to give up the habit. The news gave her the illusion of control over world events, although in reality, it only intensified her inner anxiety. But desperation due to poor sleep pushed her to try. Instead of news, she started playing a CD with classical music or recordings of forest sounds in the morning while making breakfast. Sometimes she just sat in silence, looking at her morning garden. Initially, she didn't expect any results specifically for her sleep, but after about 3 weeks, she caught herself realizing with surprise that she was falling asleep more easily. Night awakenings became less frequent, and if they did happen, anxious thoughts didn't pounce on her with the same intensity. What's the secret? Morning stress sets the tone for the entire day. Elevated cortisol levels caused by worrying news can remain in the system for a long time. This hormonal tail stretches throughout the day and prevents the body from properly preparing for sleep in the evening. The body remains in a state of slight alertness, even when you lie down in bed. The brain continues to digest the morning's anxieties. By replacing morning stress with calm, Margaret started her day with low cortisol levels. Her nervous system received the signal all is well, you can relax. This calm background persisted throughout the day, and by evening, her body was better prepared to transition into sleep mode. A calm morning created favorable conditions for the production of melatonin, the sleep hormone, in the evening. It's like tuning a musical instrument in the morning. It will sound clear all day and beautifully conclude the melody in the evening. But if the strings are wound tight in the morning, the evening song will also be out of tune. Want to sleep better? Take care of your morning. By removing the source of stress at the very beginning of the day, you help your body tune into the right rhythm and prepare for quality nighttime rest. A calm morning is an investment in your sound sleep. And when we sleep better, we naturally feel more rested. But morning stress leaves its mark not only in the form of insomnia or fatigue. It literally gets recorded in our body, in our muscles, causing tension and pain. Have you noticed how your shoulders tense up when you read something unpleasant? Or how your teeth clench? Now, imagine this happening every morning. It's no wonder that many of us suffer from chronic pain in the neck, back, and shoulders. And here, too, giving up morning news can help. Therefore, the next step is replace the posture in which you read the news, often hunched, tense, with a few minutes of mindful care for your body, gentle stretching of the neck, shoulders, and back. Let's remember Samuel, 78 years old. He suffered from chronic neck and shoulder pain for many years. Ointments and massages provided only temporary relief. His morning began in an armchair with a newspaper or a laptop on his lap. He sat with his head bowed, tensely reading the lines, often unaware of how tightly he clenched his teeth or tensed his shoulders in reaction to what he read. He attributed the pain solely to age and old injuries. The suggestion to replace reading with stretching was met with skepticism. I can barely move in the morning. What stretching? And what do the news have to do with it? He felt his pain was purely a physical problem, unrelated to emotions or habits. What could a couple of head tilts do? But the constant discomfort prompted him to try. Instead of immediately grabbing the news, he began to do a few simple exercises. Slow head turns, shoulder rolls, gentle bends. Just 5 minutes, right there in his chair. At first, it was uncomfortable. His muscles felt wooden, but he persisted. And after just a couple of weeks, he noticed that the morning stiffness in his neck had lessened. A month later, he realized with surprise that the shoulder pain that had plagued him for years was significantly weaker. Why? Firstly, the very posture while reading news, especially from gadgets, is often harmful. Head tilted forward, shoulders raised, back rounded. This creates static load on the neck and back muscles. Secondly, the emotional tension from the news directly translates into muscle tension. The body instinctively contracts in response to a threat, even if that threat is just information on a screen. The muscles of the neck, shoulders, back, and jaw tense up, accumulating fatigue and causing pain. It's like wearing invisible armor of tension that gets heavier each morning. By replacing passive reading in an uncomfortable posture and stressful state with gentle movement and relaxation, Samuel did two things. He improved his posture and released stress-related muscle tightness. Light stretching improved blood circulation in the tight muscles, helped them relax, and got rid of accumulated tension. He literally took off that invisible armor. Your body stores tension from morning stress in your muscles, causing pain and stiffness. Replace the habit of tensely reading the news with a few minutes of gentle stretching. Gift your body movement and relaxation instead of tightness. Your neck, shoulders, and back will be grateful. And when the body relaxes, when the tension leaves the muscles, what happens to our head? The mind also becomes calmer, clearer. But the benefit of giving up morning news isn't limited to just physical well-being. Our brain thanks us too. Many people in mature adulthood start worrying about their memory, concentration, and mental clarity. And often, the morning habit of reading news only exacerbates these problems, creating a sense of chaos and overload in the head. Therefore, the last, but very important piece of advice: replace the morning informational chaos with a few minutes of calm day planning or simple thought-free contemplation. This helps restore mental sharpness and focus. Listen to the story of Helen, 73 years old. Helen complained that she had become forgetful, found it hard to concentrate. Her thoughts were jumbled, especially in the mornings. After her usual ritual, coffee and half an hour of news sites, she felt overloaded with information, agitated, and unable to concentrate on her plans for the day. "My head feels stuffed with cotton wool," she would say. She thought these were the first signs of age-related memory decline, and it scared her very much. The idea that morning news could be the culprit seemed strange to her. On the contrary, "I'm training my brain, getting information," she thought. It was hard for her to break the habit. It seemed she would miss something important if she wasn't in the loop from the very beginning of the day. But the fear of cognitive decline was strong. She decided to try replacing the morning news marathon with calmly writing down a list of tasks for the day in a beautiful notebook, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of tea, trying not to think about anything specific, but just observing sensations, how the warmth of the cup felt in her hands, the aroma of the drink. At first, her mind habitually darted around, throwing up snippets of news and anxious thoughts. But gradually, she learned to return herself to a state of calm. And what happened? After about a month, Helen noticed that her mind had become clearer. In the morning, she felt collected, not overloaded. It became easier for her to focus on tasks, plan her day, remember small details. Where did the forgetfulness go? The fact is, our brain has limited processing capacity, especially in the morning when it's just booting up. The flood of news, often negative, fragmented, and contradictory, creates informational noise, overloads working memory, and causes cognitive stress. The brain spends resources processing this avalanche of information and reacting emotionally to it. As a result, there are simply no resources left for important tasks, planning, concentration, decision-making. It's like trying to hear a quiet melody during a deafening rock concert. By removing this morning noise, Helen gave her brain space to work calmly. Focused planning, or simply silence, allowed her to start the day with a clear head, focused and ready for productive activity. The reduction in stress also positively affected her cognitive functions, as chronic stress can indeed impair memory and concentration. Your brain deserves a calm start. Replace the morning informational storm with silence, contemplation, or calm planning. This will help you maintain mental clarity, improve concentration, and feel more collected and focused throughout the day. So you see, my dear friends, how one small change, giving up morning news, can trigger a whole wave of positive changes in your body and well-being. We've talked about lowering blood pressure, improving digestion, boosting energy, normalizing sleep, reducing pain, and restoring mental clarity. The stories of Arthur, Eleanor, David, Margaret, Samuel, and Helen show that this is possible and accessible to each of us. And all of this is not the result of complex methods, but simply a consequence of gifting yourself a calm, conscious start to the day. Your wisdom and life experience are invaluable. You have lived a long, rich life, and you, more than anyone, deserve to feel good, energetic, and calm at any age. It's not selfishness to take care of yourself. It is your right and, I would even say, your duty to yourself. You don't need to completely shut yourself off from the world. You can catch up on the news later, at a calmer time of day, when your body is already awake and ready for demands. But the morning belongs to you. Make it your quiet, personal time for self-care. Try it. Give yourself this chance. Start tomorrow morning differently. Listen to your body. It will surely respond with gratitude. Remember, small steps lead to big changes. You can do it. Take care of yourselves and be healthy.